Hey, it's been a really long time since I've made a video like this. Years maybe, but I think I'm ready to get back into it. I've had a on-again, off-again relationship with this particular platform because it took me a long time and I still really haven't found the audience for me here. Back when I was trying to be a little bit more consistent, it felt like the only engagement I was getting was negative, which I'm not a person who gets bothered by negative comments and things like that. But when there is no community and no support and it's just people telling you how dumb you are, you don't really want to utilize a platform like that. However, my largest platform is TikTok, and obviously there is a lot of concern about the future of that particular app, and it's time for me to step out of that comfort zone and start putting content elsewhere because who knows what's going to happen in 2025. I'm also hoping that there are other people like myself making the move from TikTok to YouTube, and so it will be easier for me to find the community that I appear to lack over here. That being said, I am ready to step out of my comfort zone and start making longer form content again, and if I find my people, I find my people. So what better way to jump back in than making a 2024 kind of year in review, let you know what I've been up to personally, professionally, and just do a little recap, get the vibes going. I'm gonna go over some comics that I read this year that either began or continued this year that I felt were really, really special. And we'll talk about some other things too. But let's just kind of go down my list. As far as Marvel goes, I didn't really read a whole lot of Marvel comics this year. Daredevil continued, which has kind of been a series that I've bought and then put in a pile. It's been a couple issues since I've actually picked that one up and read it, which is disappointing for me. I was really excited for the entire new X-Men universe that we got. When that was announced, I told my local comic shop, sign me up for everything. I want to try it all. And I did read the first few issues of pretty much everything, and now I've kind of scaled it down to things that I would like to keep and things that I'm probably going to trade weight. I can't read that many team books in a row. For me, it was a little confusing, but I did really enjoy the NYX series and a lot of the solo series too, like Dazzler, Jean Grey, Wolverine. But the actual team stuff, I think I'm going to trade weight on because it is a lot. And I'm not saying that I'm not grateful for it because I really needed a jumping on place for the X-Men. It's just one of those corners of the comic book world that you have to have time to dedicate to because there is so much history there. And I feel like this was a really good jumping on point for so many people to start reading the X-Men. As far as DC goes, this was a great year for the girls. Birds of Prey, Wonder Woman continued, Poison Ivy continued. I was a big fan of the Pride special that we got, where we got to learn more about Rachel Pollack, who was a trans activist, and her contribution to comic books following Grant Morrison's Doom Patrol run. I had never read Rachel Pollack's Doom Patrol run, and this encouraged me to start seeking it out. And yeah, what a special year for the girls. Also, the Absolute series, I'm a couple issues behind on some of those, but Absolute Batman made me give a shit about Batman, which is hard to do. So I think all those started off really strong, and I can't wait to see how they play out. Boom Studios was another one that's just consistently good, like all the time. And in 2023, working with Boom Studios was like one of the only things on my personal goals for the year. I did not get to work with them in 2023, but 2024 was the year that I started being able to do promotional work for Boom Studios, and that was truly a dream come true. I have been very loud about my support for some of their ongoing series, like Grimm. I think that Boom just really is good at horror and crime and queer stories and representation. They just do it so well. So like I said, we had Grimm continue this year. Red Before Black started, which I think was a really good like sapphic crime series. Hello Darkness, which was like a horror anthology that started later in the year. I thought that was really fun. And I know I'm always late to a party, but this was the year that I started reading Something Is Killing the Children, and that shit is just as good as everybody says it is. What a fucking phenomenal series. So what I did was I read the first, like, volume, you know, like the first 5 to 10 issues or something like that. And then later this year, they had a really good jumping on point where you kind of get more backstory on Erica Slaughter. Just jumped right in that point, and it's been so good ever since. Truly, if you haven't started reading Something is Killing the Children, you're missing out. You're seriously missing out. Image Comics was another publisher that I got to work with this year, and that was something completely unexpected to me. Got to do a few giveaways. I was able to read some previews of stuff that's coming out next year. Bug Wars from Jason Aaron, and Lucky Devils, which is from the same creative team that did 8 Billion Genies. Both are phenomenal, and they come out between January and February of 2025. Absolutely recommend checking those out. Another thing that started with Image this year was The Moon is Following Us, which I was going to read that no matter what it was about, no matter what anybody else said about it, because I am a massive fan of Daniel Warren Johnson. So that's just a few issues in. I'm actually a little bit behind on that, but again, another one that started super strong. Daniel Warren Johnson is so good at emotions and getting you to care early on in a story. Last, but certainly not least, I was incredibly proud of Distillery and their growth as a brand in 2024. As some of you know, I am on like a promotional team for Distillery. I am incredibly lucky enough to be able to preview pretty much everything before it comes out, and I love Distillery so much. And the way that they were able to expand in 2024 was just so impressive and incredible to get to witness. From putting out cover galleries from some of their more popular comics that came out earlier in the year, some of those really cool, like extra big reserve editions, and they've also added some great people to their creative team. Some of my favorites that came out this year were Life, which is a like dystopian story told from 2 different perspectives in the same comic, which I think is really inventive and cool. The Big Burn is another really cool, like, kind of heist story that's just been a lot of fun. Come Find Me, which was another horror anthology that came out this year. This was kind of directed by Becky Cloonan, who I think can do honestly no wrong. I love Becky Cloonan's work. So yeah, it's just been really fun to watch them grow and expand their business and their brand, and I feel genuinely so excited to be a part of that team in any way that I am able to be. And on a few different notes, this was a really cool year for me personally. Adjacent to comics, some of you know my store, Toy Vomit. My husband and I own a collectibles store in Kentucky, and we were able to move into a much larger location, 6,000 square feet. We are now the largest toy store in the South. So that happened in October, and honestly took up a majority of our summer, you know, kind of making sure inventory was ready and things were getting moved over and everything was just happening really smoothly. So while I sit here and I think, man, I really didn't get to read that much new stuff or consistently, it was still a really busy year for me. We've been able to add to our team of employees. We're able to add more types of inventory. We'd never had room for back issue comics, and now we do. Now I have like my own little section of the store with like 20 boxes of comics, which is really fun. It's a better location. It's a bigger location. It's just something I'm incredibly proud of. In addition to that, you know, not only did I get to work with Distillery consistently and Boom and Image, which was totally unexpected, I got to work with DC like 3 times this year. They sent me some young adult graphic novels, and they sent me the DC's Finest collection to review and promote. And that was really, really special and was very much a high note for me in my personal list of achievements, because holy shit, who doesn't want to get a package from DC Comics? So yeah, when I look back on it, it was actually a really good year. As busy as it was, as chaotic as it was, I am very lucky to be able to be a part of this community in any capacity. And I do feel like maybe in 2024, I took that for granted a little bit or didn't appreciate it as much as I should have. So I think that's all I have for my little 2024 recap. I very much look forward to hopefully being more consistent on YouTube. It is time to stop putting my eggs in the TikTok basket and spread them out a little bit more evenly. So if you're here from TikTok, let me know. If you've been around YouTube and you've been wondering where the hell I've been, also let me know. I hope you guys had a good year. and maybe I will see you more in 2025.